Hi, I'm Curtis and welcome to the show. Welcome to my backyard as well. Work in progress. I've got the beds in, the watering system. We've got to do some tweaking to it. Behind me will be my personal chef's herb garden. I've got some marigolds and some other pretty flowers there to attract all those pollinators. Today's show, well, today and next week's show is dedicated to Father's Day, because that's when I recorded it. And it's my first time doing a two-part episode. So, I'm gonna have a lot of fun. Gonna share some family pictures, talk about my dad, my uncles, all the folks that helped me growing up, and just wonderful memories. I hope I don't cry while doing this. All right, y'all, let's go to the kitchen and make 4 of Dad's favorites over the next 2 weeks. Peace, spread love. Oh, we have a flash from the past from Memorial Day where I make Mama's barbecue sauce again. Let's do it. Coming up today on the Curtis Aikens Show, Daddy loves squash, potatoes, baked beans, and meatloaf. 4 of my pop's favorites on Father's Day. Welcome back to the kitchen. I'm Curtis, your host with the most. Father's Day. Wow, 2021, June 20th, 2021. Man, it's hard to believe, huh? We're into this new millennium big time. The first weekend we celebrate Juneteenth, which is way cool in my opinion and so many folks. Father's Day though, I'm thinking about Father's Day right now because what comes to mind for you on Father's Day? Me, so many memories. My dad, of course. Then there are all the other, father figures and role models, male role models in my family. My uncles, I had wonderful uncles, Uncle Sonny on my mom's side and Uncle Pigeon. There's a raven out there. I don't know if you can hear him. He's making up some noise, so maybe he or she's thinking about Father's Day as well. My grandfathers, Granddaddy George, who passed away a week before I was born. I think that's why Mom and Dad gave me his first name as my middle name, George. Granddaddy Curtis, Mom's dad, that's where my first name came from. And just all the wonderful memories of Uncle E.C., Uncle John Lee, Uncle J.W., Uncle Red, all my uncles, Uncle Red, Uncle George, we carried the name, we called him, his nickname was Red because he had this very light skin, and my brother Jeffrey looked so much like him. Yeah, Father's Day, very emotional when we think about all these great dudes in our lives. What do I think as a father? It's intriguing. I've got 2 incredible human beings that are my sons. Curtis George Aikens II, and a long time ago I told him, I said, son, I really didn't name you after me. I named you after those grandfathers of mine, your great grandfathers, that you didn't get to know, and I hope I get to share so much with them. Thank you for being my son. Cole Bennett, my baby boy, thank you for being my son. However, today I'm going to honor my pops. It's funny, I always called him Dad when we were talking. However, when I refer to him, I talk about Pops. I don't know why. And I think about, it's not Father's Days that I think about when I think about Dad. I think about all the things. I always knew he was there for me. He wasn't the kind of dude that could say, hey man, I love you. He showed it to you. And he's one of the people that gave me that spirit of adventure. He and Mom, they were so good about that. They loved to travel. So sometimes on a weekend, Pop would say, come on, let's go. Next thing you know, we're up in North Georgia, at the mountains, or we're in Tennessee, or we're in, Carolina, getting apples, Florida on the beach, just looking at the sand. I mean, Pop, love you, dude. Miss you, man. Yeah, as long as I have you here, you're always alive, right? So remember that, y'all. And another thing Pop shared with me is that independent spirit, right? And I guess he taught us, his kids, there were 6 of us, 3 boys, 3 girls, that the life that you're living is yours, And I hope I taught that to my boys, that, I know you love me. You ain't got to tell me that every day. You don't have to show up every day. The fact is that be a strong, independent human being and live your best life. So today's food we're going to prepare, I got 3 recipes I'm going to try to get together for you. And they're all things that Pop loved. Meatloaf. We're gonna make meatloaf today, one of my meatloafs that I dig making meatloaf. Meatloaf is a comfort food, so Pops dug that comfort food. Also gonna do some some roasted potatoes. Dad, yeah, like all the dudes in the South, we love our potatoes, right? Meat potatoes, right? Had to be on the table. And I'm gonna do squash. He loved yellow squash, right? Mama, Laura Bill, make me some squash is what he would say. Mama, Laura Bill, Curtis Aikens, right? Mama, Laura Bill, make me some squash. So I'm gonna do a little mixture of yellow squash and zucchini. We're gonna make that. If you're wondering why a can of Van Camp pork and beans is on the countertop, well, Pop, my dad, loved baked beans. So if I got a chance, if I have time, I should say, I'm gonna whip up some baked beans for you. Well, we will have time. The ingredients today are gonna be kind of used in all of them. So I've got pepper, squash, onion, and then here I have some onions and tomatoes in the fridge, and I don't wanna let these go to waste, so I'm gonna use them in my filler as well. Okay, for our meatloaf. This will help keep that meatloaf nice and moist. Let's do some chopping, go to the stovetop, get our taters and everything ready for the barbecue. Let's start with our peppers and our view from down under. I love this view. I'm gonna chop them fine, just take your time. Small pieces, orange. Now the yellow pepper will be next. Let's chop it up the same way. Gonna use white onion for the meatloaf filling. And last but not least, some garlic. Let's do the zucchini. We have the yellow squash already prepped. Same technique, we're just gonna slice the zucchini little diagonals, just like the yellow squash. And we got some of that onion. You can use diced or sliced onion. For the squash, we're gonna use a Vidalia, a sweet onion here. My Pop loved those Vidalias. Just gonna cut it into half, like a semicircle there. And we just slice. Our water's boiling, so I'm gonna add some salt, using kosher salt, not too much, maybe half teaspoon or so. Then we're gonna add our potatoes. I may not use all of these, good handful, because it's just Lisa and I. Careful when you do that because, you know, I am a professional, so I'm making a joke when I say that. I'm gonna cook these for about, you know, a minute and a half at the most. Pops loved potatoes. Any way you'd cook them, he would dig them, right? So, thinking about you right now, Pop. What do we got, about 20 potatoes in there, 20 of those little bitty potatoes. I'll let this boil, let's see, 116, let's say 117. I'm gonna lower the heat because it's nice and hot and we don't want it to bubble over. Whoops, the time got away from me. It is, we let them cook about 5 minutes. Let's see how they are. I'm gonna turn this off. I think, well, two things occurred to me. I got busy, okay, just prepping stuff. Oh, look at those, look nice. Also, you know, if you want to cook them a little longer and just slice them, toss them in butter and herbs, that's a great dish too. Years ago when I was in Norway, that was one of the ways they'd serve potatoes. They'd do fish and potatoes. It was just incredible. So I'm gonna let these sit in the water while I move on to our next dish. I've got some oil in the pan, about a teaspoon or so in that ceramic pan, and also those safety tips. Move those handles to the side. I love to saute my onions. Couple of reasons. Caramelization, bring that sweetness out, right? I want them to be nice and sweet. It adds something extra to that meatloaf. And let those cook a bit. Notice I got my yellow peppers, my orange peppers, and I got a mixture of peppers. And again, same thing, bringing out the sweetness. As these cook, right, they will soften up. Sometimes I've noticed, like when we use the raw onions in the meatloaf, you know, they become more mushy than they do cooked. So here's my little hack, as the kids are saying nowadays. Everything is a hack. I just like, hey, it's just an easy way to do it. Now let that cook for about a minute. Then we'll add all of our peppers. The great thing here is this is going to be used both in our meatloaf as well as our BBQ beans. I should say baked beans, but they are really, we're cooking them on the grill. Now you see that beautiful brownness? I talk about this all the time. They are not burning, they're caramelizing. All that sugar is coming out, okay? Now we'll add our orange and yellow peppers. We're not going to overcook these, no more than, 7 minutes. Get all the sweetness to come to the top. I'm going to add the garlic, just a little bit of the garlic in there as well. And that's something I do want to add. I want to add some of the garlic that we minced. I'm going to add it to the meatloaf raw, okay? I'm not going to add any salt or pepper right now. I'll do that when I'm seasoning the meatloaf. All right, our peppers and onions are looking good. Look at that. You see all that beautiful caramelization in there? They're nice and soft, so we're going to turn this off and just allow these to cool down while we get the ingredients ready for our meatloaf and our baked beans. If you remember from the barbecue show on Memorial Day, I made Mom's homemade, or should I say Mom's made barbecue sauce. And over the years, I've started using, dried onion, also onion powder in place of the whole onions. However, today, because I'm making the baked beans, I'm going to saute some onions and make a little batch of Mama's sauce the way she did it. Happy Memorial Day. I hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day, or should I say, hope you enjoyed your Memorial Day as much as we did around here. It's all about the barbecue, or the grill as we say out here in California. I've got the ingredients laid out for the barbecue sauce as well as an easy pomodoro tomato sauce. Okay, I'm not going to call it marinara because it's a quick, easy pomodoro sauce. So let's start. Now, the recipe, this is Mama's barbecue sauce. Comes from this book, Curtis G. Aikens, Cooking is a Family Affair. 3 generations of cooking. Mama, me, and Joy, my niece, Chef Joy Aikens. So that's 3 generations of Aikens, and we share some great recipes. And the foreword is written by dietitian Stacy Antine out of New York. And the reason I mention this is because this book, whenever I did a charity event and they needed a book, we would donate this book, and all the money went to charity. Literacy Volunteers of America, the Marin Free Library, where I learned to read. We have to give back is my thought there. So here's the recipe for Mama's barbecue sauce. I don't have my glasses, so I'm going to have to just look at the ingredients and tell you what they are. The base is ketchup and mustard. Now, Mom likes spicy mustard. Me, I just use yellow mustard, okay? A little bit of sugar, about 2 tablespoons of sugar. So there's about a cup of ketchup, 1/4 cup or so of mustard. Vinegar, her recipe calls for apple cider. I love rice wine. You can also use balsamic or just regular white vinegar. They're all fabulous. A lemon, the juice from about half a lemon. This is a Meyer lemon I got from my neighbor. Now, Mama would always dice an onion, and she'd use really fine chopped onion. Over the years, I've started to just use onion powder or dried onion because the barbecue sauce is a little smoother, and it seems to store better that way. And then some water. I used to put water in so I can really allow it to reduce. And then that super ingredient that always goes well with anything you're barbecuing, Worcestershire sauce. To quote my buddy Jesse Zapullo, the Pro Bowl center for the 49ers back in the day, W sauce. All right. Now on my left is barbecue sauce. Got the ketchup in there already. Gonna go ahead and squeeze my lemon juice in. Some water. You don't want that ketchup to burn. Let's whisk it up a little bit. Let's add that brown sugar. Break it up. Don't want it to clump up in there, so just take your time, whisk it, whisk it, whisk it good. Worcestershire sauce was coming next. mustard. Last but definitely not least will be our onion powder. Stir that up, and I'm going to use the rice wine vinegar because I absolutely love it. About a tablespoon. And again, we're going to bring it to just a slight boil. I'm going to lower it and simmer it till it reduces. Add a little more water. And I've gone ahead and taken the ribs off the grill, and I've got them in a pan, a foil pan. And what we're going to do is add the sauce over the ribs, place it back on the grill so they get nice and tender. See, we can get a little boil going here. Then we'll push it back to the simmer burner, and good to go. Gorgeous barbecue sauce. Hope I make you proud, Mama. Did you enjoy that blast from the past? Although just a couple of weeks ago, the BBQ Show. Now, this is how it looks when we use the fresh onion. I sauteed that with a little bit of oil, then we add the remaining ingredients: ketchup, mustard, Worcestershire sauce, vinegar, lemon juice, sugar, water, and pepper. Cayenne pepper is optional. Mom liked a little bit of zing in her barbecue sauce. I wish I had pictures of Mom making this sauce to share with you. Here's a picture of Mom and Dad holding their firstborn. So it's Dad's first Father's Day. They're holding Eddie Jr. Love you both. All right, let's slide it to that back burner. Well, let's make our herb roasted potatoes or get them ready for the grill. I've got 2 paring knives, and you know, for this job, I like the smaller blade. It just gives me a little more control. All I want to do is slice our potatoes. The larger ones, I may slice, you know, a couple of times through the middle. I think that's good, though. And the smaller ones, you don't even have to cut if you don't want to. However, it does allow that oil to penetrate your potatoes and get some nice flavor there. The oil as well as the herbs. The classic Italian way of making this dish is just with rosemary, you know, olive oil and rosemary. I love roasted potatoes. I also want to share something else with you too. Food safety is big, and if you've watched me do these cooking shows over the years, paper towel. Why do I use so much paper towel? Well, when I was going through the Safe Serve program, Safe Serve, Serve Safe, I'll get it right one day, huh? You know, we talk about kitchen towels, and you never know, someone could have used that towel. It looks clean, however they didn't get it washed. So with the paper towel, we call this like one-use towel. So it's one of the best ways. You use it, throw it away. No one can cross-contaminate with that, okay? Also our safety gloves. Yeah, I'm having a hard time speaking on Father's Day, right? Safety gloves. These things are just great. I'm gonna use these once I get the potatoes sliced up, add the oil so we can toss them up. Not because I'm worried about getting my hands oily. I just have a nice new Father's Day shirt. I don't want to wreck it, okay? All right, I'll get these prepped up and we'll get them ready for the BBQ grill because we're roasting outside. Potatoes are sliced nicely. Let's dry our hands off there. I'm going to add some salt first. Not too much, because we want the herbs to really be and some pepper. We want the herbs to be the biggie. There's our herbs. Now, let's spritz it with some olive oil. I'm going to use my little spritzer because I absolutely love this thing. It's great in the kitchen. If it's on tight, that is. We'll spritz that up. You know, really, you don't need to toss them if you don't want to. However, it's always good to get in there and mix them up, okay? I'm going to cover these the first few minutes of cooking, and then we'll just let them roast uncovered so they get a nice color. Make sure everything is coated with not only the oil, but also the spices and seasoning. Wet hand, dry hand, so we can get those herbs. I want to coat everything. I absolutely love roasted potatoes. Go ahead and make sure the barbecue is getting nice and hot. It's got enough propane. We've got those red and the yellow potatoes. Now these potatoes really are done. We're just going to let them, when I say done, they're cooked. I shouldn't say done because we haven't roasted them yet. Now you see that? Just like with a one-time use paper towel, that, take it off, hits the trash can. Let's get our baked beans ready next. Before we move on to the baked beans, or should I say barbecue beans, we're going to cover our potatoes with foil for the first 10 minutes of cooking. Then we'll uncover them so they get nice and crispy with a beautiful color. These potatoes are, again, out of sight. Ready for the grill. Baked beans. Like I said earlier, Dad, my father, loved baked beans. Now this is a little different kind of baked bean today. I got the Van de Kamp pork and beans in there. And remember, don't overfill the container because you don't want them to bubble over. I'm going to add those sauteed peppers, some of the sauteed peppers, and I've got bacon. A couple of doses of bacon here. I've got some that has been slightly cooked. I haven't finished it. However, it will finish cooking in with the beans on the barbecue. I'm also going to save some of this bacon to go into the meatloaf. Ooh, look at that. Oh, everything's better with bacon, right? So just mix that all in there. Take your time. We're going to get some of those gorgeous peppers. Some of the peppers. Again, they're going to go in the meatloaf as well. Peppers in there. And it's okay to be heavy-handed in this dish with the peppers. Just adds a nice sweetness to it. Now, here's the thing that makes BBQ beans BBQ. Mama's homemade barbecue sauce. My dad, when Laura Bell barbecued, woo, everybody came around. Aunts, uncles, neighbors. Well, when Mama cooked, everybody came around. Just mix that in. You want to get the flavors throughout the whole dish and let that bacon just really do its thing in there. I'm going to add a little more herbs and spices there, just a little herbs there. And now let's get the barbecue sauce. This is a homemade batch. I hope I did a good job getting the lemon seeds. I hope I didn't have any in there. If I do, somebody get some good luck. A couple of big tablespoons. I'm going to save some of this for the meatloaf. I'm going to incorporate it into the meatloaf itself and save some for the top of it. So I'm going to mix the barbecue sauce in. I want to get all the way through there. I'm going to cover this, but for the last, let's say 10-15 minutes of cooking, I'm going to remove the foil, just like with the potatoes, because I want to let them kind of brown up on the top. And we want that bacon that we're going to add across the top to crisp up as well. Yeah, I like bacon. I'm not going to cover the whole thing. I'm just going to put some bacon up there. And again, it's just Lisa and me, so we can, split the bacon. We don't have to fight over the bacon. There we go. Okay, that's ready to wrap. Go to the grill. Father's Day 2021, we're going to wrap up part 1 of the show by cooking everything up. Then we'll come back to the kitchen and taste what we've made. Next week, we'll make the meatloaf and the squash. What do you think? Is my backyard coming along? Happy Father's Day, everyone. We are ready for the barbecue. We've got the meatloaf, the potatoes, and our beans. My temp is way up there. It's like 600 degrees right now. So I'm going to turn one of the burners off once we get it going. Let's see here. We'll put, let's see here. Meatloaf, baked beans, baked beans on the top rack. I'll make room. We'll put the potatoes down here on the bottom as well. And we're going to turn this middle burner off because I don't want to fry the bottom of the pans, okay? Lower it. There we go. This one will turn off. Temp is about 400. We'll check them in about 15 minutes, see how everything's looking, okay? Our meatloaf looks good. Everything looks done. However, let's do the internal temperature check just to make sure we're good to go. 179, so everything is done, that beef, and it feels nice and moist in there. Ready to go taste it? I am. The work is done. My favorite time of the show, the pudding. Putting it in your mouth to see how it tastes. Happy Father's Day, all you dads out there. The baked beans, meatloaf, squash, and potatoes. My father loved all 4 of these. So does his son. Baked beans. Hard to go wrong, isn't it? Pop loved that yellow squash. The little combo, zucchini yellow squash here. Wow. Let's give that meatloaf a try. I just love that squash. Country boy's dream meal. Sauteing those onions and those peppers, that barbecue sauce in there, it just really keeps that meatloaf nice and moist. Last but not least, my roasted potatoes. Wow. Okay, y'all. Happy Father's Day. Hope you try these recipes. Let me know what you think. Something you want to learn? If I know how to do it, I'll teach it, share it. All right, y'all. I'm Curtis. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you give all these tips and things a try. Peace. Spread love.